Hello, my friend, it's Melvin Pillay. You've obviously heard of this phrase, happy wife, happy life. My friend, that is possibly the worst way to live your life. Dear friend, you cannot make anybody happy forever. You see, the thing is this, that humans often revert to their normal. Let me give you a couple of examples. So, let's say, for example, Jack marries Jane. And Jack is a poor guy, and Jane grew up very wealthy. So one day, Jack buys Jane a diamond ring, expecting her to be happy and excited and change in a dramatic way. Well, he gives the ring to his wife, and she is happy. But the next day, he noticed that she's not jumping around, bouncing around, and pouncing on him, and kissing him, and hugging him, and he gets a bit concerned. He's annoyed. He feels slightly rejected. He thinks to himself, when he was a younger man, growing up in his poor community, and many times he went out on dates. For example, he remembers the time when he took a girl out to the burger joint, and she was so excited for weeks. She said to him, "Thank you, thank you." Then he took me to this burger joint. The burgers were like $16. They were so expensive because he grew up in a poor community. That was a lot of money for them, and she seemed to be so appreciative. Now he thinks he made the biggest mistake of his life. Not so. You see, his wife grew up in a world that such gifts were normal. So her high became normal very soon. It's called the hedonic adaptation, or the hedonic cycle. Here's another example. Susan is an absolute optimist, and she marries John. Now, John is the absolute opposite. He is the extreme pessimist. Now, Susan wants to encourage him because she sees all the wonderful gifts and talents and says to him, "Come on, sweetheart, you can do this. You can apply for that position." And she tells him all the reasons, and he gets a bit excited, and he says, "Oh, tomorrow I'm going in and I'm going to apply for that promotion." The next morning they get up, and John says to her, "Well, I don't think I can do it." And he seems to have lost all the excitement and enthusiasm. Now Susan gets a bit worried, and she says, "My gosh. When I was back in high school," she thinks to herself, "I dated this guy who was the quarterback, and he was amazing. And I'd tell him things about himself, and he'd say, 'I'm going to go ahead and do it, Susan.' And he did. He became a CEO and became a successful guy, and now she thinks she made the biggest mistake of her life." Not true. You see, John just reverted to his normal. While he was excited the night before, now his normal is his normal. My friend, that hedonic cycle is something that humans will always revert to. Now here's the thing. You cannot make other people happy, because people will always revert to their normal so that they can survive everyday life. The best thing you can do for somebody, if you want to give a gift or do something for somebody, don't do it because you want to make them happy. Do it because you love them. That's all. Don't have an expectation for them to react. Otherwise, you will forever feel offended, rejected, or the other person not appreciating your gifts, whatever it may be. The best thing you can do is understand that person's normal. My friend, you will find that you will live a whole lot happier when you are happy instead of trying to make other people happy. And the funny thing is this, when you are happy, you tend then to find that people around you start to get happy. It's not your job to make other people happy. If you may, it's your job. If I may, your job is to make yourself happy. I'll never forget this little story a friend of mine told me of a friend of hers that grew up in a very wealthy home. In this home, they had a big bowl in the kitchen, and in that bowl, they had lots of money. So whenever one of the kids or anybody needed a certain thing, they just put their hand into the bowl, took out the money, and got the thing they wanted. Well, that girl grew up and she got married, and she noticed that in her home now, there was no bowl in the kitchen. And so I said to my friend to tell her friend, well, if she wanted a bowl of money, she should have married a leprechaun. Oh, my precious friend, you cannot make other people happy forever. Just understand they're normal. Do it because you love them. And by far the greatest thing you can do for somebody else is not to try to make them happy. It's to help them find their meaning, find their purpose, find their destiny. Because if they find their meaning, purpose, and destiny, then that individual will be happy forever. Not always bouncing around the house, but there will be an internal joy, and they will live a life that's so much happier. Hey, this is your friend Melvin Pillay, and as always, a day will come when I will see you at the top.